evening, everybody. Welcome to Miss R Reads. I'm Miss Rainfrey and this is Florence, that's right. Florence says, good evening, everybody. She's missed you. This evening's story has been chosen by Massimo, and the author and illustrator are one and the same person, and that person is James Mayhew. The story is Katie and the Dinosaurs. Are you sitting comfortably? Fantastic. Then let's begin. Come and look, Grandma. Come and see the dinosaurs, said Katie. Katie loved the Natural History Museum and she wanted to show her Grandma everything. They're just a load of old bones, said Grandma. Well, you're really old, said Katie. There must have been dinosaurs alive when you were little. I'm not that old, said Grandma, looking for somewhere to sit down. They found a seat next to a skeleton of a very fierce-looking dinosaur. Why don't you go and look at your horrible dinosaurs while I have 40 winks, said Grandma. They're not horrible, sniffed Katie, but I do wish they weren't just skeletons. And she skipped off on her own, taking her picnic lunch with her just in case she got hungry. Katie saw spiky dinosaurs, fishy dinosaurs, flying dinosaurs, horned dinosaurs and long dinosaurs. She closed her eyes and tried to imagine they were alive. She thought they must have been very frightening with their sharp teeth and claws. Next to one of the dinosaurs was a corridor. Katie set off down it to make sure she hadn't missed anything worth seeing. The corridor was long and dark, and there was no one in sight. Katie began to feel scared. She looked for a way out sign, but there didn't seem to be one. She was lost. Now what do I do? Said Katie crossly. She came to a big door with a notice on it that said absolutely no admittance whatsoever. I'll just take a quick look, said Katie, and she opened the door and stepped through. The door led outside, and there in front of her was a dinosaur. It was no bigger than Katie, but it was a real live one. Hello, said Katie. Who are you? Hadrosaurus, said the dinosaur. Who are you? I'm Katie, said Katie, and I think I'm lost. I'm lost too, said Hadrosaurus. I was chased by a Tyrannosaurus Rex. Isn't that the really fierce dinosaur? Asked Katie. That's right, said Hadrosaurus. Now I don't know how to get home. Don't worry, said Katie. I'll be able to see where we are from the top of this hill. And she clambered up a steep slope. This isn't a hill, said Hadrosaurus, scrambling up behind her. Katie gasped. Oh, it's a Brontosaurus. She was very high up and could see for miles. Now show me where you live, said Katie. I think it's somewhere over there along the riverbank, said Hadrosaurus. Katie looked across the river. What are those funny-looking birds? She asked. They're pterosaurs, said Hadrosaurus. Watch out! But one of the pterosaurs had already spotted Katie's yellow scarf. It swooped towards her, and before Katie could duck, it had snatched the scarf from her. Hey, that's mine! Bring it back! Yelled Katie. But the pterosaur was far away already. Now the Brontosaurus started to move. She was getting fed up with those two noisy creatures jumping about on her back. How they made her itch. Katie hung on for dear life, slipping and sliding about on the Brontosaurus's back as she lumbered down to the river for a nice cool bathe. She was so huge that Katy and Hadrosaurus hardly got wet at all. From high up on the Brontosaurus's back, Katy could look right out to sea. All sorts of strange creatures were swimming there. She recognised some of them from the museum. The ichthyosaurs with their long snouts and a plesiosaur with its snake-like neck. Before long, the Brontosaurus reached the edge of the water. "Let's go," said Katy. Followed by Hadrosaurus, she slid all the way down to the tip of the Brontosaurus's tail, and they landed in a giggling heap on the ground. The Brontosaurus chuckled a deep, thundery laugh. "Which way now?" said Katy. "Into the jungle," said Hadrosaurus. The jungle was hot and sticky. Through the trees, Katy could see a herd of enormous dinosaurs. "What on earth are those?" asked Katy. "I don't like the look of them." "Only stegosaurs," said Hadrosaurus. "They won't hurt us." "Are you sure?" said Katy suspiciously as one stegosaur licked its lips. "Oh yes, they only eat plants," said Hadrosaurus. So Katy gave them some grass. Then they went on through the jungle, and soon the trees began to thin out. Suddenly, Hadrosaurus let out a squeal. "Mama, Papa!" he shouted. It was Hadrosaurus's family. His Mama and Papa hugged him and hugged Katy too for bringing him home. "I hope you're not going to eat me," worried Katy. "Don't be afraid, Katy," said Hadrosaurus. "We only eat plants too." That reminded Katy that she hadn't had her picnic lunch yet. She was feeling quite hungry by now, but she politely shared her cucumber sandwiches and chocolate biscuits. She saved her meat pie for later. Plant-eating dinosaurs from far and wide picked up the smell of Katy's sandwiches and padded across the rocks towards her. There was a Styracosaurus and a Triceratops with their horns, an Iguanodon with his spiky thumbs, and some ankylosaurs. The dinosaurs shook some strange-looking fruits out of the trees, and they all ate until they were full. It was the best picnic Katy had ever had. Suddenly, another dinosaur crashed out of the jungle. It was Tyrannosaurus Rex. He had been following Katy and Hadrosaurus all along. He grunted and growled and ground his teeth and swished his tail and stamped his scaly feet. He was hungry, and he didn't want cucumber sandwiches or chocolate biscuits. He wanted meat. He wanted Katy. "Quick, run for your life," said the Hadrosaurs, and Katy took to her heels. All the dinosaurs ran away in alarm. Tyrannosaurus Rex thundered after Katy and the dinosaurs as they ran through the jungle towards the river. Katy got out of breath, but she kept on running. At last she could see the museum ahead of her. If only she had stayed safely inside. Then she remembered the meat pie. She tore open her lunchbox and threw a piece at the Tyrannosaurus Rex. The Tyrannosaurus stopped in his tracks. He sniffed the piece of pie. He ate it up. He liked it so much that Katy threw him the rest, even though she had been saving it for herself. And the Tyrannosaurus Rex padded off into the jungle again, contentedly clutching Katy's lunchbox. "Phew, that was close," said Katy. It was getting late now, so Katy turned to say goodbye to Hadrosaurus. "I do wish you could come home with me," she said, "but Grandma would only scream and make a fuss." "I'm happy here with my family anyway," said Hadrosaurus. He gave Katy a lick. "Thank you for helping me find them." "Blech," spluttered Katy, as dinosaurs have very sloppy tongues. Then she went back through the door into the museum. This time, Katie easily found her way through the museum. Grandma was waiting where she had left her. "Where on earth have you been?" asked Grandma. "I've seen all kinds of dinosaurs," said Katie. "Why don't you come and have a look too?" "All right," said Grandma. "Where do we start?" "This way," said Katie, and taking her hand, off they went. The end. Right. Let's see. Can you remember which dinosaurs featured in the story? You can. Do you want to start us off? Okay. A Hadrosaurus. Well done. What else? A Tyrannosaurus Rex. Well done. A Styracosaurus. Well done. What else? A Triceratops. Brilliant. A Plesiosaur. Well done. You've got 4 more, I think. A Brontosaurus. Well done. An Iguanodon. An Ankylosaur. And I think there was one more. Was it the Ichthyosaur? Have we remembered them all? Well, if we haven't, please do let us know. We hope you enjoyed that story. Until next time, take care and good night. Goodbye, everyone.